XoxoTanara, and I am back with another episode of the Fake Straight Podcast. So grab your favorite beverage, or mine, a glass of champagne, clink clink, and let's get into it. This is episode 3. So in case you did not hear the first 2 episodes, stop, go back, rewind, flip it and reverse it, go listen. But on the last 2 episodes, I shared with y'all how I dated my high school sweetheart for almost 10 years, off and on. High school, college sweetheart, off and on for almost 10 years. And then I met a woman, started dating her in 2013. And when I met this woman, I really just thought I was only drawn to her. I was only attracted to her. So throughout that relationship, people kept asking me, are you bisexual? Are you gay? What are you? And I had no idea, y'all. I was just like, I'm just here vibing. I don't know. I have no idea. In my mind, though, I was thinking, if this relationship doesn't work out, I think I'll go back to dating guys. I definitely am not interested in another relationship with a woman because the drama, y'all. And I only told y'all not even a quarter of the drama because I didn't want to be petty to people that shall remain unnamed. But some of my friends are like, you didn't even get into the juice of it. I didn't want to go down petty lane, so I didn't go there. But I will say there was a lot of lesbian drama when I started dating this woman. And so I thought for sure I'll go back to dating a man. It's easier. It's simpler times. And so on the last 2 episodes, I shared with you how I tried to go back to dating men after I dated a woman, but I just wasn't feeling it. I was bored. I didn't like it. I wasn't interested. I was interested in attempting to see if I would be attracted to another woman in the same way that I was attracted to the first woman that I met. So on this episode, I'm going to talk to you about my personal challenges of meeting and dating women. We're not going to call it a hoe phase because that sounds like it's calling it a hoe phase. Let's say there was a rebirth of sorts. There was a rebirth for myself. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that part of the journey on this episode because I realize I've said this a couple of times. I will start off by sharing why exactly I thought, sure, I'll hook up with a woman, but I won't be in a relationship with a woman. I do have lesbian friends, and at that time I had lesbian friends, and they were in some of them were in some not so great situations. Some of them, they were violent situations. It was domestic violence. There was a lot of jealousy, a lot of manipulation. There was a lot of connecting within an inner circle. It was almost incestuous. It was a lot of, we connected, we hooked up. And so I just thought damn, that's drama. And even when I dated men, and even when I wasn't with my ex-boyfriend Smith, he and I were still cool. Like I said, he was the homie, but I definitely was not where your best friend at? Can I holler at your cousin? And so when I saw this, I just thought this is a little messy. I'm already a little baby lesbian. I don't have time for any extra drama. So I kept thinking I absolutely will not be in another relationship with a woman. So after I ended this relationship, when my rebirth started, and I said, you know what, let me try dating women again. So I was still in Houston at the time. So I hopped on good old Tinder. At this point, I should be a paid endorser for Tinder. So I hopped on Tinder and was swiping and connected with a couple of girls. Despite what people think, I do take a break in between relationships, but I'm typically dating. There's been times where I'm just not dating, but I like to have a good time and I'm not sitting in the house crying and being depressed. This is so sad. I'm not about to do all that. So the first woman that I dated after Jody, I'll call her Fit Bae. She was a perfect person to date after I'd gotten out of this relationship because she understood that I said, okay, I have only dated men all my life until I started dating women 4 years ago. I don't know how all of this goes. I'm absolutely not interested in getting into another relationship. I'm just vibing. I'm just hanging out. And she understood that. And so she was very fun. She was very cool. She's chill. We dated for a couple of months and then I knew I was moving to Colorado. At that time, of course, I was still on Tinder because we were not in a relationship. I met this other woman that lives in Houston. I will call the second woman, I'll call her Church Bae. So I was talking to Fit Bae and it was just super casual. Then I was having conversations with Church Bae. We weren't like hooking up or anything, but I knew she was really interested in me. So I moved to Colorado. So then let me just transfer this good old Tinder, update this location on Tinder to Colorado. So connecting with girls here, and at this point, I'm like, this is a whole new world. So I'm talking to Fit Bae and we're talking. She visits me in Colorado a couple of times and, we're really cool. I also was still talking to the ex Jody in Houston. Y'all, I don't learn my lesson. I was still talking to her. She had come out to Fort Collins to see me a couple of times. At this point, I sound like a pimp. I'm not saying that I was or I wasn't. But I was single and mingling. So I was talking to her. And so Fit Bae was getting a little annoyed with that because she had shared that she was growing feelings for me. And I was still talking to Jody and still connecting. And she didn't feel like I was open to exploring my feelings with her. So Fit Bae and I dissolved. Quiet as it's kept, y'all. People be falling in love with your girl. People fall in love with me very quickly. Church Bae from Houston circles back. She's like, I keep thinking about you. I want to come and visit you in Fort Collins. Because mind you, we connected in Houston, but we connected on Tinder. So we hadn't even met each other. We had just FaceTimed and we're like texting and calling. And so I'm like, this is my rebirth stage. Shit, yeah, come out here. Come to Fort Collins. So she booked a ticket. And I thought, most of the time, even if it's like a homie, people will come like Friday through Sunday or Friday through Monday. She didn't check with me before she booked the ticket. She just said, is this month okay? The next message I got from her was a screenshot. And it was like a Thursday through Tuesday. I don't even want my mama to come visit me for Thursday through Tuesday. So I was already a little... I just was like, this is going to be a long time. So that was a little uncomfortable for me, but I'm thinking, fine, I'll play the game. Leading up to her coming out here, she had started calling me a lot more and texting me a lot more and FaceTiming me. I hate unscheduled FaceTimes. I'm not a Kardashian. Do not just roll out of your bed or wake up in the morning unless you are my girlfriend. I don't like unscheduled FaceTimes. And so she was doing a lot of that. It was becoming a bit much. But again, she was coming out in 3 weeks. So I just was thinking, let me just roll with it. So she gets here and she was super interested in me when we hug. And she's like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful in person. And I can't believe I'm meeting you. And that sounded silly. It sounded... She was not fangirling over me. I didn't mean it for it to sound like that, but she was just like, it's good to finally meet you because we have been talking for 7 or 8 months. And so she was like, it was so good to finally meet you. It's so great to be here. She gets here and I'm like, she's not really my type. And then also she had sent me some sexy selfies. I did not ask for sexy selfies. I don't ask people, women, no one for sexy selfies. But the moral of the story is she decided to send me a quote unquote sexy picture. And it was like her in like a bra and underwear. And she had a very nice body. She's very athletic. But see, this is the difficult part, being a woman dating a woman, because you know how you are. I was like, where was the effort? Like, you've got on boy shorts and this like Victoria's Secret t-shirt bra. So I was not really interested when she sent that, but again, she was hella cool. We had lots of great conversations. I've said before, I'm drawn to energy. Even if I'm not super attracted to you, your energy, your sense of humor, your ambition, all of those things will rope me into you really quickly. I see her in person and I'm thinking, I'm not really that attracted to her. We'll just vibe out for the weekend. I can have a good time by my damn self, so I can definitely have a good time with this person. That's cool. So first night, we're hanging out, we're kicking it, and we leave to go get drinks, and she grabs my hand to hold my hand. Oh, no. I hate when people try to hold my hand and we're not in a relationship. It's very awkward to me. And don't intertwine your hand. Don't intertwine your hand with mine. Like, what are we doing? No. So that was already misstep number one. So she intertwines her hand. I casually pull my hand away and like put him in like my jean jacket. And then we start, walking together, and we go into this bar, and she was just very touchy-feely and very handsy. Physical touch is my love language, okay? If that's where we are, if that's how we're vibing. We're just meeting for the first time. So it was almost cringeworthy. Then that Saturday, we were talking about relationships, and I said something to the effect of, yeah, I'm definitely not ready to be in a relationship. I'm not interested. And I don't know if it was the THC or the champagne, but she was all in her feelings, and she got pissed, and she got hurt, and she got sad, and she got angry. It was all those emotions in one thing. And she starts crying. She's like, you're not interested in me, and I can't believe this. I can't believe I wasted my time. Mind you, we've had this conversation. We have talked about this because we've been cool for like 7 or 8 months. She's like, I can't believe I've wasted my time. I think I'm like 34 at the time. She was like 3 years older than me. So this is a grown ass woman. She was just like, I can't believe this. I'm so hurt. And I'm really thinking in my head, baby girl, like I'm actually being very kind to you because I wasn't interested since you got off the plane, but I'm open and I'm kind. So I'm being kind and sweet. At the time, I have a 2-bedroom apartment. So she goes in the second bedroom and she's crying. I like let her do her thing because I don't know her well enough to know like, okay, what do you need from me at this moment? Like, how do I comfort you so you don't feel uncomfortable? Like, I'm not trying to lead you on. I want to be real. I want to be transparent, but also I don't want to be an asshole. So how can I offer you some comfort, but still be authentic? So I just stayed in the living room drinking my champagne. She goes in the other bedroom and I hear her crying, like sobbing. This was concerning. And she says, I'm going to go for a walk. She leaves out. This is all very unstable to me. She leaves out, but she stays in front of my door in the hallway because I lived in one of those apartments, where they're like hotels, like everything is inside. You don't just walk up to the door. It's like you go into like the leasing center and then go through the hallway and then you go to the door of the apartment. So she goes outside and she calls a friend or someone to vent to. And she is just crying and sobbing, but yet talking shit about me. She's like, I can't believe her. She's led me on. I just thought it was so childish because it's like, girl, you're outside of my apartment. 1, my neighbors can hear you. 2, you were going for a walk. This is giving you want me to hear you. So it's very childish. So finally, it gets so loud in the hallway. I step outside and I'm like, yo, like, can you come inside? Like, I don't want my neighbors hearing this. Like, at the time I worked for a university. So I'm like, there's students that live here. There's other coworkers that live in this building. I'm like, can you come inside? I'll just go for a walk. You can use the phone, vent, whatever. I'll go for a walk. I come back. She's still upset. Anyway, to not belabor this story, it was a weekend of that. Whatever. I go to work on Monday. I'd originally taken off on Monday. I'm like, fuck no, I'm not staying in this house with her. Like, I'm going to work. So I went to work and then she was leaving on Tuesday. So that was that. She ends up sending me a message a month later and it was like a long ass message. She was very apologetic. She said she was in her feelings and she didn't mean to come across like that. She was just going through some other things and all of that was just compounded. All I could respond and say was, thank you for your apology. I appreciate it. Take care. Because at that point, like, girl, we were just talking and you came out here, as Marcus said on Boomerang, we went out on a date. Shit was whack. Done. Like, okay, like, wrap it up. I go on another date. I meet this woman. I'll call her Dispensary Bay. It's Colorado. So there's always dispensary, growing your own bud classes, entrepreneurship, all of this stuff. How do you grow, to sell to dispensaries? And so that's what Dispensary Bay was into. And she actually had some land in New Mexico that she was going to use to harvest like this organic weed. This only happens in Colorado, that this is somebody's occupation. But she was like real cool. We went out several times, but then the same thing happens, right? She ends up telling me that, I was developing feelings for you. Like, I'm interested. I'd really like to date you. And of course, I didn't want to be in a relationship, right? I will say, in her defense, that I actually don't even have a story about her because she was so cool, so chill and laid back. And she was just a normal ass woman. When I told her, yeah, I'm not interested, she immediately was like, okay, cool. It's been great hanging out with you and getting to know you. I'm not going to keep talking to you if I know there's no future for you and I. That's kind of a waste of my time. I know that's right, girl. Girl, you better know your self-worth. Because it's like, if I'm interested in having a relationship with someone, why would I accept just being a side chick, a cuddy buddy? Like, I'm not accepting that. So I can appreciate that about her. She didn't stalk me. She didn't keep hitting me up. She randomly hit me up before she moved to New Mexico. And then the last time she was just like, okay, I'm out. Bye. And so that was a normal dating experience. Unlike another one, HR Bay was full on psychotic. Full on psychotic. I don't know why she was so interested in me so quickly. You know, sometimes when people are interested in you, it's like I said, people fall in love with me really quickly. It's a gift I have. Seriously, people think they fall in love with me really quickly, right? But sometimes when people are interested in me, it has nothing to do with me. It's something a little bit deeper with you because you fail too quick and I'm not even giving you that energy back. So how'd you fall in love with yourself? HR Bay was unhinged in a way, almost like a predator. It's one of those people that when you say, hey, I'm not really interested in a relationship, they try to be your friend or they try to provide some sort of value to you. And they like to use that so they can stay connected with you, right? And so in her case, that's what she did. So I said, okay, let me just set some boundaries in place and tell her I'm not interested. And I don't know what that stemmed from because that had nothing to do with me. Like, I'm not trying to hype myself up and be like, oh, I'm so dope. And these women were just like, oh, I need to be with you. This is bigger than me. And so it also made a tribute to, there's not a lot of Black women in Colorado. So shit, maybe when you meet one, you're like, I need to lock this one down ASAP, because that happened a couple of times with a couple of girls that I just went on one date with or 2 dates with. And so I was just like, yeah, nah, this ain't it. So that was HR Bay. Then I met this woman, we'll call her ATL. Anyway, I thought she was attractive, had her shit together. I love somebody that has their shit together, okay? That's very attractive. Well, I started talking to her actually a lot. And I was starting to kind of like her. She was planning a trip out to Denver, and we were going to kick it. We were going to hang out. Then that's when the crazy shows itself. Right before she was coming to Denver, maybe a month before, I go to Atlanta. My mom was living in Atlanta at the time, and my brothers are living in Atlanta. I've got one of my line sisters who's a good friend of mine. She lives out in ATL. So I was just going to be there for maybe, I think 3 nights or 4 nights. I decided to go to the cigar lounge with my line sister, and we're out, we're having a good time, buying bottles of wine, smoking cigars. Then my brothers join me. It's just a good time. And I'm out until probably like 2 a.m. While that's happening, I'm definitely not checking my phone. I'm not hanging out on Instagram. And I'm not responding to text messages because I have like 3 days with my people that I have not seen maybe in 2 years, 3 years, 4, however long. We don't get together that often. When I'm in a relationship, even when I'm out of town with family, friends, you know, I check in. Hey, how you doing? You good? But if we're just talking, not even dating, I will talk to you when I'm back in Colorado, okay? Because I'm not about to be on the phone all day. So that's what happened. I think I responded to a message, and then she had called me or FaceTimed me. So the next day, she was super short with me. I'm like, what the hell? I go home the next day, and I'm like, hey, what's up? How are you? She's very dry, very short. Yeah, I'm good. And she's like, did you have fun in Atlanta? But I could tell, you know how you can tell when somebody's on edge? I'm like, this does not sound like you really interested in my good time. She's like, it looks like you had a great time. It looks like you went on a couple of dates too. Here we go. Here we go again. I posted a picture of me smoking a cigar. She assumed I was on a date. And so, you know, what happens when you assume? You assume, you create your own narrative, and then you act in a way as if your narrative is true. So that's how she was acting. I was like, well, I just got back and it sounds like, you're upset. So why don't you just give me a call when, you're ready to talk or you're in a better mood? Mind you, me and this girl was not in a relationship. We were not even dating. This is my fault. I'm seeing the pattern. I see the pattern. They mistakenly think that the phone calls and texts are equivalent to a relationship. So I'm now seeing my role in my own betrayal. After that, she tried to bounce back from that, but I was over it. I was completely turned off. And so she was like, so I guess maybe like a week later, she's like, should I cancel my ticket to Denver? Perhaps you should. I don't think we're on the same page about expectations and things like that. I think that's the pattern that I don't like. I don't like that when I've been upfront with women and where I'm at and where I see the relationship or lack of relationship going. I don't like that. I guess I'm not really taken seriously. I guess people are like, oh, I'm going to win her over or change her mind. But I don't know if I'm adamant, like this isn't the situation for me. Either be cool with it or like dispensary babe, just be like, peace out. Like this isn't the situation I want to be in. But a lot of women have gotten upset with me as if I led them on. And I'm like, I tell you directly what it is and what it isn't. So that's been a bit challenging about me dating women. I will say that I had a really good experience with another woman. I'll call her Engineer Bae. She probably was the favorite person that I dated as like a single person and just going out on dates because she was everything that she seemingly was at the beginning. When I met her, she seemed down to earth. She seemed cool. She seemed like she had her shit together. She seemed like a kind person. She did not seem like a stalker, a psycho. That's exactly who she was in the short time that I dated her. And so it was a really good experience for me to date her. There's only been 3 women that were normal and kind. And when I said, okay, I'm not really interested in this, or these are my expectations, they're like, okay, cool. Like either they vibe with it or they don't. The other women, it's been a lot of psychotic situations. I will tell y'all later on in this season, or actually maybe next season, because I'm still doing some healing around it. My friends and I refer to one of my exes as Candyman. At first I called her Nameless because I didn't even want to say this human being's name because it was bad, y'all. It was bad. It was like television bad. That's how bad this relationship ended. So I used to call her Nameless. No, actually, I used to call her Crazy. Then I used to just refer to her as Psycho. Then I said, no, I'm just going to call her Nameless because I don't want to put bad energy out there. I don't want to be calling this person crazy or psycho, even though I think they are. Should I just change my phone number this year to make sure she didn't have it, even though she's been blocked? Every time someone would say her name or be like, do you ever run into her? Literally the next day, I would look at my story views and she would be on there. Or 2 days later, she'll have liked a photo. You say her name 3 times and she pops up. And I'm not lying. I swear to gosh, by the time I finish recording this podcast episode, if I say Candyman one more time, I promise you, she will have created another fake Insta and will be liking pictures. Like, it's psychotic, but I can kind of laugh at that story now. But when I tell you it was a very psychotic relationship, everything about it was bad. It became very abusive in every single way. I do want to share that part of my journey later on because I do want to bring a conversation to light about same-sex domestic violence. I think that's an important topic and a topic that's not talked about often enough. I just finished a second bachelor's degree in human development and family studies. I actually used that topic for a paper, and it was so hard to get information because it's just not well documented. And so I do want to share that with our community and talk about my story, but it's dark, it's deep and it's dark and will need a trigger warning. So I will leave that one there. And then when I'm ready to talk about it, I will come back to that. I have had lots and lots of crazy lesbian stories. So when people say, oh, it's easier for women to date women, Or maybe this lesbian's only dating another woman because of XYZ. And it's like, this is not the case. But there's been some great times and some great connections that I've made with different women that I've dated that became good friends of mine. I have a woman that I dated for a couple months, and she literally is one of my best friends now. And I know that's weird. I know, I think that's just a lesbian thing. We dated for a few months and whatever. So it's like, why wouldn't we be friends if we dated for a couple months? It didn't work out. It wasn't the vibe for each of us. I hope y'all have enjoyed this podcast today as much as I have enjoyed recording it. I love talking about gay shit. So I love that I get to talk about it every week with y'all. I'm glad that y'all tune in to listen to me just talk shit and laugh. I love it. Thank you. I hope that every time you walk away from this podcast, you leave with do not let anyone define you. Only you define you. Thank y'all. See y'all next week. Holla.